Well, good morning, East Alabama and West Georgia. Dr. Don in here with you. The National Weather Service office in Birmingham, Alabama, has issued a severe thunderstorm warning this morning in East Alabama. This warning is for Tallapoosa County, and it is in effect until 8:45 a.m. this morning. At 8:21 a.m., a severe thunderstorm was located over northern Lake Martin or near Alexander City, moving to the east at around 30 miles per hour. The hazard with this storm is 60-mile-per-hour wind gust and penny-sized hail. Once again, that is a severe thunderstorm warning in effect now for Tallapoosa County. This is in effect until 8:45 a.m. this morning. And let's take you in closer on the radar and show you where this severe thunderstorm warning is. It's down here in Tallapoosa County, and it's basically just south of Alexander City, over the Our Town area, right there along County Road 63, 63, that runs from Alexander City down to Kalijah, Wind Creek State Park. The heaviest part of the storm is right there crossing over 63 near Kalijah, Our Town, right there across Lake Martin. And that is a hail core that we're looking at right there. That is some pretty significant hail that's being indicated, and we probably have gusty winds of 50 to 60 miles per hour in this area as well. Now, this is going to continue moving off to the east-northeast and will cross 280 there near Jackson's Gap. And then continue on off to the east. You folks down here in Dadeville need to pay attention to this storm. It certainly could move right over Dadeville and Jackson's Gap here in the next 15 or 20 minutes or so. So once again, just repeating, the National Weather Service office in Birmingham has now issued a severe thunderstorm warning. This warning is for Tallapoosa County in East Alabama for a severe thunderstorm that is moving across Tallapoosa County. It'll stretch from about Budston all the way back down to Equality in Elmore County, but the heaviest part of it is currently from Jackson Gap down across Lake Martin, Wind Creek State Park, Our Town, Kalijah, and it'll continue to move off to the east. So this will affect Jackson's Gap and Dadeville. Potentially could affect Camp Hill. There's no real reason to think that this will weaken as it moves east, so you folks over here in Chambers County also need to pay attention to this storm. Anywhere from Oak Bowery up to Lafayette, maybe even as far north as Buffalo or Pennon, might want to really pay attention to this line of thunderstorms as it moves your way from west to east. And long term, if it holds together long term, you folks over here in Valley, Lynette, West Point, down to Casita, and then up to the north, maybe as far north as Gabbettville, could see this thing in the next hour or so. Now, this is that part of the line of thunderstorms that we were watching earlier this morning over in West Alabama. I told you then that felt like if we were going to see any severe weather, it likely was going to be along that portion of the line. Well, it's in East Alabama now, and it's moving into some more unstable air. And we're beginning to see that threat with the southern end of this line. Now, once this line moves through, I'll zoom out and show you that your threat of severe weather will pretty much end across East Alabama. There is certainly a large area of rain over there in West Alabama and East Mississippi that we'll have to deal with later on this afternoon, but the severe threat will go away as this line of thunderstorms continues to move off to the east throughout the remainder of this morning. So for you folks up here in Randolph County, you're getting some pretty heavy rainfall there around Roanoke. I'm back over toward Rock Mills and up the eastern side of Randolph County there on County Road 87, but that is not severe. The severe part of this is going to be down there in Tallapoosa County, and again, It's going to be in that area from about Jackson Gap back over toward Lake Martin, Our Town, Kalijah, and then back into extreme southeastern Coosa County as that line moves on off to the east. Rock Mills, you're going to get some heavy rain, but shouldn't see anything severe out of this. I think the severe part will stay on a line from about Jackson Gap over to around Lafayette, over to around Lynette and south, if this holds together as it moves on off to the east this morning. Bear with me just 1 second. Okay, I'm just checking a couple of other things here. And again, for some reason, the warning is not showing on the screen here. Let me see if we can figure out why and get that to populate. We'll go with that and see what happens. But nonetheless, Tallapoosa County is under a severe thunderstorm warning. That's in effect until 8:45 a.m. this morning. That is for a severe thunderstorm along the southern end of this line that stretches from just southwest of Buxton down to around Jackson Gap and then all the way back over into extreme southeastern Coosa County. Let's see what the Weather Service has for us here. This is going to be the National Weather Service is continuing the severe thunderstorm warning for Tallapoosa County. A severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect until 8:45 a.m. this morning for northern. It says northern Tallapoosa County. So you folks up there around Frog Eye, down to Buxton, down to Dadeville, and then back to Our Town. They're warning for that entire area. At 8:29 a.m., a severe thunderstorm was capable. Thunderstorm was located over Jackson Gap or near Dadeville, moving east at 30 miles per hour. Hazard there is 60 mile per hour winds and penny-sized hail. So again, folks, they're saying northern Tallapoosa County. I think that's incorrect. No question here where the most intense part of this storm is. It's near Jackson Gap. And then it stretches back down to Lake Martin, just south of Our Town, and back over toward the southeastern corner of Coosa County. Now, you folks up here in Frog Eye, Daviston, Buxton, you're definitely going to get some very heavy rainfall, maybe even some small hail and pretty gusty winds. But there's zero issue here with determining where the heaviest part of this storm is. It is by far down here in the south central and southern sections of Tallapoosa County. I think the Weather Service just got a little bit of a error there. So let me just kind of circle where the heaviest part of this storm is. You'll see that circle I just put around it. And that's going to continue moving off in this general direction. So you folks over here, I'd say anywhere south, I'll just put a line on here, anywhere south of that line, all the way down here in Buffalo, Lafayette, down to around Camp Hill, over toward Casita, and eventually Lynette Valley and West Point may have to deal with this line of thunderstorms as it moves on off to the east this morning. And I'll move the map over so we can kind of get a look downstream, and also let me go back over and zoom out just a little bit so you can kind of get an idea of what we're looking at across the entire area. I'll put the storm track on for you. You can see kind of where we expect that storm to go, toward Lafayette and then down toward Casita and right over Dadeville. And just bear with us while we look at a couple of different products here to kind of see if we can gauge what type of wind we're looking at. Yeah, and we're showing winds in the 45, 50 mile per hour category. There's some 50 mile per hour winds as we get down there around Lake Martin. Just south of Dadeville, we've got some wind down there around 44 to 46, 45 miles per hour. Again, that's up in the atmosphere, and then that heavy rain could push some of that wind down to the ground. So anywhere from 35 to about 50 mile per hour wind gusts are certainly going to be possible in that area around Dadeville, up to Jackson Gap, down to around our town. Question about Lee County, Smith Station. You guys are looking good down there right now. Nothing but just some scattered showers in the area. This particular complex of thunderstorms should stay well north of you. And at the moment, we don't see any severe threat down there around the Phoenix City, Columbus area. Not to say that there wouldn't be later on. As I zoom back out, you can kind of see what's off to your west. There's really only two areas of concern at the moment. That's that thunderstorm up there across Tallapoosa County, and then we have some more thunderstorms down around Greenville that's moving off to the east. That would be more of an issue for Troy, Union Springs, and Eufaula. So right now, Phoenix City, Columbus, Phoenix City, Smith Station look pretty good. Again, very heavy rainfall up here around Roanoke, back over toward Rock Mills. We had Key down to 5 points, back over toward Wadley. Then the severe part of this picks up there just south of Budston, down to Dadeville, and then back across Lake Martin, just north of Kalijah. And this is the part of the storm that the National Weather Service is warning for this morning. And I'll draw the line for you again. That's the severe part of the storm, and it's moving in this general direction. Wedowee is well north of all of this, just some light rain up there in Wedowee. Pretty much the severe threat has ended up here in Randolph County. I mean, if you're along Highway 22 from about Wadley all the way to the Georgia state line, along 22 and south and east of 22, there remains a small threat of gusty winds and heavy rainfall. But behind this line, things calm down considerably, and I'll just kind of show that to you. We'll draw that on here for you as well. If you are in front of that pink line, then the risk of severe weather remains. If you're behind that pink line, if you're anywhere up here, anywhere back here, you're pretty much in the clear from severe weather now. So places like Wedowee, Newell, Delta, Ashland, Sylacauga, Alexander City, you're all in the clear now. But if you are anywhere in Chambers County, extreme southern Randolph, southeast Randolph, anywhere from Franklin south, down there in Troup County. All of this is moving off to the east. It's moving in this general direction. So if you're anywhere along or in front of the line that I'm drawing on the map, then you still have a risk of severe weather until this line moves through your area. As we look further to the south, no problems down there in the Auburn-Opelika area. I think you're going to kind of end up in this void between the two lines, so I'm not even sure that you see a tremendous amount of rain down there in the Auburn-Opelika area. You're going to get showers, but the heavy rain stops up there along 280, and then it picks up again along I-85 there around Tuskegee and Shorter, and continues on off down to the south. This line of thunderstorms here in Tallapoosa County, about to move into Chambers County, is moving into some more unstable air. And that's why we're seeing this thing flare up a little bit late this morning, or as we get into mid-morning. But that's some pretty good indication of hail going on there from just south of Budston, just north of Camp Hill, back across 280 there, right along the 280 corridor at Dadeville, and then stretching all the way back to between Kalijah and Our Town on Highway 63. Wind Creek State Park in the height of all of this right now. If you've just joined us, a severe thunderstorm warning has been issued by the National Weather Service out of Birmingham for Tallapoosa County. That's in effect until 8:45 a.m. this morning. I want to show you this graphic. This is the latest thinking from the National Weather Service out of Birmingham. And this is what they expect, or where they expect the severe weather threat to be as we go into your mid-Sunday morning. And we continue to see that threat will be at its best right there along the I-85 corridor into the south. But as I've been saying all morning, that doesn't mean that we can't see a rogue severe thunderstorm anywhere across the area, and that's what we've seen happen this morning. We now have a severe thunderstorm warning there for Tallapoosa County in east central Alabama, and that warning is in effect until 8:45 this morning. Yeah, southern part of Roanoke has got very heavy rainfall. That's what I just said. Southern Randolph County, from Roanoke south on 431, from Highway 22 south, from Wadley all the way to the Georgia state line, and Roanoke south on 431 all the way down into Chambers County to about Lafayette is getting some pretty heavy rainfall right now. That same thing's happening over in Troup County, moderate to heavy rainfall from LaGrange back to the Alabama state line, and from Franklin to the east and south in Heard County, also getting in on some very heavy rainfall. And again, that severe thunderstorm warning until 8:45 for Tallapoosa County. That's going to be for that heaviest part of this line of thunderstorms, which stretches now from the Tallapoosa Chambers County line, basically just north of Highway 50, right there on the county line. And then it's stretching back to the west to near Dadeville and Lake Martin. That's where the heaviest part of this storm is located at this hour. We'll put it back in motion so you can kind of get a general idea of which way it's moving as well. If you're just joining us, Dr. Don with you on your Sunday morning, March 12, 2023, as we watch some heavy rain and thunderstorms move across East Alabama and West Georgia. We've been keeping an eye on this for you since about 3 a.m. this morning. We've done several live updates, and so far, this is the only warning we have received across East Alabama. That is a severe thunderstorm warning that is now in effect for Tallapoosa County. That warning is in effect until 8:45 a.m. this morning. So the Weather Service is watching this storm. They think it's going through a cycle. Overall trend is weakening, though they did note that there was some circulation in this thing about 2 or 3 volume scans ago. And if I had to guess, I would say that circulation was right in here, just south of Budston. As this storm moves on off to the east. But they're telling us the last volume scan or 2 overall, it appears the storm is in a weakening mode at the moment. Now, it could certainly circulate back up, so we're going to keep an eye on this real closely. Or I should say it could ramp back up. But overall, it looks like it's in a weakening mode. And they may have just dropped that warning. Let's see. We're having some... all this data comes from the National Weather Service, which is a government agency that's charged with forecasting across the United States, and they have really been battling data issues here in the last year or so, and we may be having some data issues again this morning. Or they may have just let it go. Let's see. Going to switch back over to the graphic while I try to refresh this. Let's see if we can determine what's going on here. Okay. It was a data blip because it's still there. All right. So that severe thunderstorm warning continues until 8:45 a.m. this morning for Tallapoosa County. This is going to be basically from Dadeville back over toward Camp Hill, along Highway 50, and then crossing 280 between Camp Hill and Dadeville, and then back over to around Highway 49. And we're getting a new severe thunderstorm warning now for Chambers County. This is a severe thunderstorm warning issued by the National Weather Service at Birmingham for a severe thunderstorm that was located over Ridge Grove, or 7 miles northeast of Camp Hill, moving to the east at 30 miles per hour. So the main threat with this storm in Chambers County will be the same. It's going to be 60 mile per hour wind gust. And this will affect places, eventually will affect places like Valley, Lynette, Lafayette, 5 Points, Chambers County Lake, Fredonia. And if it holds together, it'll get over there in the eastern sections along West Point Lake as well. So basically, if you are along Highway 50 in Chambers County, maybe a little bit south, if you're between Lafayette and Oak Bowery, or anywhere along Highway 50 from Camp Hill all the way to Lynette, you are now covered under a severe thunderstorm warning. Now, don't take me wrong. You folks up here in the northwest sections of Chambers County, places like Milltown, Pennon, Marcoot, you're getting just torrents amount of rain. And it's thundering and lightning and very heavy rainfall. The wind is gusty, no question. Budston, you've got a very heavy cell right on top of you. But the part of this storm that appears to be most significant is going to be right there along Highway 50 from just inside the Chambers County line back to Camp Hill, and then to a point just south of Dadeville. And again, let me put this in motion so you can kind of get an idea of which way this is moving. And I'm going to circle the heaviest part of this storm. Forgive me for my drawing capabilities here. But anyway, this is the direction the storm is moving. The heaviest part of this is going to be down here in the Camp Hill area. And that's going to continue moving to the east. So if you're anywhere on 431 from just north of Oak Bowery all the way to Lafayette, you need to really try to find a place to go to shelter from this storm as it moves through, because it's going to bring some very blinding rainfall and quite possibly some pea-sized hail as well as it moves over Highway 50 and 431 there around and just south of Lafayette. Very heavy rainfall up here around Budston, probably some hail involved in that as well. You're just joining us. We continue with a severe thunderstorm warning for Tallapoosa County until 8:45. That is for that storm down there around Dadeville. And we have a new severe thunderstorm warning now for Chambers County in effect until 9 a.m. this morning. And I will say this. On that last scan, we're beginning to see what appears to be an intensification of this line, especially up here on the north end. So there are two areas of concern. I just circled the first, and here comes the second area of concern. So if you are in Pennon, 5 Points, Buffalo, Lafayette, Lynette, West Point, Valley, pretty much anywhere in Chambers County, you're going to feel the effects of this severe thunderstorm warning that's just been issued by the National Weather Service. Now, it's pouring in Lafayette right now, but the heaviest part of this is still off to your southwest. That's where we could quite possibly have some hail and also some damaging straight-line winds. Basically, anywhere from Lafayette all the way back to Camp Hill on Highway 50 is a no-go right now. Don't even attempt to drive into those areas. I'll start up here on the northern end. You know where Rock Fence Farms is located. The heaviest part's just off to your west. In Pennon, it's about to move into your area there along Highway 77. Marcoot back off to your west. Anywhere where you see the flashing blues and whites and purples, that's where the absolute heaviest weather is taking place right now. And that's most likely in the form of pea-sized hail and gusty winds of anywhere from 30 to 50 miles per hour. And it stretches all the way back down to around Camp Hill and really continuing even south of Dadeville. We probably have at least some street-level flash flooding taking place down here from Dadeville south. Dadeville south. For those of you that are just joining me, I apologize for my voice. I was in Columbus, Georgia last week for the Georgia Emergency Communications Conference, and the pollen was off the chain down there last week, and it has absolutely thrown me for a loop. Don't feel that bad, but my goodness, that the sinus issues that are going on this morning. Looking at the big picture here, very heavy rainfall across the Atlanta area down toward Peachtree City, stretching all the way to about Thomaston in Georgia, then back across Troup County, southeastern Heard County, very heavy rainfall up there across southeastern Carroll, And then that stretches back over into East Alabama. Rain beginning to subside in Roanoke. Still got some heavy rain in the Rock Mills, Bacon Level area. Extreme northwest Chambers, you're good. Banda, you're out of it now. Wadley, you're out of it now. Ashland, Lineville, you've got some light showers that'll be moving through, but the severe threat's pretty much come to an end up there, at least for now, and we think probably for the rest of the day. The only areas that really have a concern with severe weather, and I'm just going to draw that area for you. If you're behind that pink line, you're in the clear. If you're anywhere up here in Randolph, Clay, Tallapoosa, let me just redraw that because every time I draw it, we'd get a new volume scan. Let me put the new line on there for you. If you're anywhere behind or to the left of that pink line I just drew on the screen, you're in the clear. Extreme southeast Randolph County until the line clears you. You need to be vigilant. If you're down here in Chambers County, you're under a severe thunderstorm warning. The heaviest part of this storm now coming into the west central sections of Chambers County, and that area of the storm appears to be becoming the dominant part of this storm. Let me just go in closer and we'll take a look at that. We still have some strong weather down here on the southern flank of the line, but look at that there between Buxton and Marcoot. That thing is really blowing up right there. So I would be concerned if I'm over here in Marcoot because that's about to move right over you. Pennon, it's going to be a close call for you as well. Buffalo, be ready. Downtown Lafayette, be ready. And then down here along and just south of 50 from Camp Hill all the way to Lafayette. And eventually, if it holds together, Lynette, West Point, and Valley. You folks down there in Casita, yeah, you're probably going to see some of this a little later on as the storms continue to get closer to you. They're moving in your general direction. You're down here. Here the storm's off to your west northwest. Maybe they're sliding just a degree or two to the south as they move east. So I think it's a best bet that you probably will see this southern line in the next 30 minutes. Opelika. Auburn Opelika is in pretty good shape right now, unless something fills in here on the west side of this or the southern end of this line that's up in Chambers County. I think this stays a little bit north of the Auburn Opelika area, but a lot of things could change over the next 15 or 20 minutes or so. As we go in a little closer on Lee County, you can see Auburn's just got some light rain, maybe some moderate showers over there at Opelika. Then your line is up here in Tallapoosa and Chambers, sliding off to the right or to the east. So probably will stay a little bit north of Opelika, but this could fill in over here on the western side as the line moves off to the east. We'll just have to see. Again, this is just a severe thunderstorm warning. We have no tornadic activity going on here, and we're talking probably a marginal severe threat at that, where we're looking at gusty straight-line winds of, 50, maybe 40 to 50, maybe occasionally gusting up to 60 miles per hour. But at the moment, we don't see any indication of any type of tornadic activity. It's just damaging straight-line winds, and I say just damaging straight-line winds. I don't mean to minimize it because straight-line winds can cause just as much damage as a tornado sometimes, but this is not a red-letter day severe weather outbreak across East Alabama and West Georgia. Now, one of the things that we've been watching is this circulation that is taking place up here in Chambers, but you can see inbound, the best I can find is about 6 miles per hour inbound and about 40 mile per hour outbound. So what this is telling us is we do have rotation in this storm in Chambers County, but it's very broad. This is not a tight couplet, and see even on that next volume scan, it's even more broad. All thunderstorms rotate. I mean, if it didn't rotate, it's by definition not a thunderstorm, or a severe thunderstorm. So this is the area the Weather Service has been watching. Right there around Marcoot. That's where your circulation is at this hour. But for now, it's very broad. It's nothing to be that concerned about. And that would be where the heaviest part of the storm is right now as well. Well, Beulah and Casita both. Yeah, you're in danger until this line passes. It's going to take about 30 minutes, maybe 45 minutes for the line to get completely through Chambers County and into Georgia. Um, so maybe that answers your question. Jackson Gap should be in the clear now. Let me go take a look at things. Yeah, Jackson Gap, you're in the clear. The line is way past you now. It's off to your east, so no dangers in Jackson Gap. When I zoom out, you'll see there's no more severe, really, there's no thunderstorm activity back off to the west this morning. There's that area of rain back over Demopolis, back into eastern Mississippi, but that really should not go severe. I think this is going to be the extent of our severe weather threat for today. And if you're in New Site, Alexander City, Jackson Gap, Dadeville, Frog Eye, Roanoke, Wadley, Rockstand, Wedowee, Woodland, let's see, Ashland, Millerville, Lineville, Gray Hill, Franklin, Carrollton, you're all in the clear. If you are in Welch, 5 Points, Lafayette, Waverly, Casita, Lynette Valley, West Point, Casita, LaGrange, Hogansville, you need to pay attention to this line of thunderstorms that's moving through Chambers County at this hour. We have a severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect until 9 a.m. this morning for Chambers County. If you're down here in Lee County, places like Auburn, Opelika, Beauregard, even over towards Smith Station, Columbus, Phoenix City, nothing threatening you at this time. I think this line of thunderstorms will stay north. I mean, it may barely creep into extreme northern Lee County up there around Beans Mill, but I don't think it makes it down into the Auburn, Opelika area, and I certainly don't expect it to make it into the Smith Station, Phoenix City, or Columbus area. If you look due west of the Columbus, Phoenix City area, and even due west of Auburn, Opelika, there's nothing over there. You got this blob of heavy rain down here below Tuskegee and Hurtsboro, but that's not severe. So unless something changes, unless something fills in over here between Waverly and Tuskegee, I don't anticipate anything severe for the Auburn, Opelika area. Yeah, I think once this line of storms move through your area, the line of storms you see there in Chambers County, and that's not going to affect everybody. That's really going to affect Troop and maybe northern Harris as it moves on off to the east. Once that line moves through, the threat of severe weather will subside, and then I don't think we're looking at much more of a threat throughout the remainder of the day. I know when you went to bed last night, the Weather Service was saying rain this morning and severe this afternoon, but you'll notice that big blob over there in West Alabama and East Mississippi. That's just heavy rainfall. And that, coupled with the rain we had this morning, has helped stabilize the atmosphere. So I don't anticipate breaks in the clouds. I don't anticipate sunshine today. Therefore, I don't think we have severe weather this afternoon. The Storm Prediction Center has kind of flip-flopped their predictions as well. They changed at about 3 a.m. this morning. They said, oh, wait, hold on. Given the latest data from some early morning balloon releases, it now appears that if we do have severe weather, it will be Sunday morning, not Sunday afternoon. So that's what we're going with. So to answer your question in a roundabout way, once we get this line of thunderstorms out of Chambers County, out of Troup and northern Harris, then I think our threat for severe weather across East Alabama and West Georgia will go with it. I don't think this is going to be a long duration all-day event. If you're just joining us, Dr. Don with you on your Sunday morning, coming up on 9:04 a.m. Unless you did not set your clocks at 2 a.m. this morning, then you're showing 8:04 a.m. It seems like it should be 2 o'clock in the afternoon because I've been up since about 2 o'clock this morning. But anyway, we're watching some strong storms march across East Alabama, about to move into Chambers County here in just a few moments. About to move into West Georgia out of Chambers County here in just a few moments. That line of storms definitely in Chambers County at this time. And we continue now with a severe thunderstorm warning. Let me get the text on this for you right quick. Severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect until 9:30 a.m. this morning for Chambers County. Just a couple of minutes ago, a severe thunderstorm was located over Lafayette, moving to the east at 40 miles per hour, 60 mile per hour wind gust, the main threat with this storm. So that's an extension of the original warning. It's going now until 9:30 for central and eastern Chambers County. Let me get back over here and we will bring the radar loop current and stop it right there, and we'll zoom in. Anywhere from Holiday Park back over to Highway 431, maybe a little bit west of 431, from just south of Pennon down 77 to Lafayette, and then just south of 77, just to the west and northwest of Casita. Big-time thunderstorm rolling through the area this morning. And that has prompted the National Weather Service to issue a severe thunderstorm warning for this part of Chambers County, basically northeast, central, and southern Chambers County, now under a severe thunderstorm warning until 9:30 this morning. If you are behind the line I'm drawing on the screen, you are in the clear. This would mean places like Dadeville, Budston, Pennon, Frog Eye, Wadley, Alexander City, down there at Bama Park. You're in the clear. The line has already passed you. If you are to the right or east of that line I just put on the screen, then you yet to have to deal with this storm, and you're still in that area where you could see some severe weather. And I will draw the leading edge of that severe weather threat there. So you're already getting it at Holiday Park. Gabbettville, it's on its way. Lynette, West Point, Valley, Casita, knocking on your door. It's going to line up pretty good with the I-85 corridor, LaGrange, Hogansville. All of this is coming in your general direction. You folks down here in Lee County, it's beginning to look like that part of this may make it into the northern part of Lee County, but I'm not sure it makes it all the way down into the Auburn-Opelika area, though we'll have to keep an eye on this over the next 15 minutes or so and kind of see. But When I move it, you can see a little bit of a bulge there to the south, but generally speaking, the storms are moving to the east this morning. I mean, we've got a gust front going on right here. If I'm concerned about the winds in this storm, it's going to be right along this area here. So Casita, maybe Beans Mill, Waverly, and then moving on off to the east, anywhere between, um, let's see, anywhere between Beans Mill and probably Lynette or West Point on I 85. You've got a pretty significant gust front that's coming your way. You could easily see 45, 50 mile per hour wind gust as this moves through. And again, when I rock the volume scans back and forth, you can see that. See how it bulges out there once it gets right there at Camp Hill. The bottom end of that line just really pushes to the south. That's an indication that we've got some wind in that storm. Also had some rotation taking place just south of Buxton earlier, but that doesn't seem to be much of a threat now. Um, the center of all of this is headed right straight for Lynette. So it's going to get windy. It's going to get rainy. It's going to get stormy in Lynette, West Point, and Valley here in just a few moments. And you are under a severe thunderstorm warning, which means that you should take cover inside and shouldn't really be out there on the highways driving at this hour. Some pretty gusty winds moving through the area. Carroll County, Georgia, you're in the clear. Things look good up there. Carrollton, you've got some light to moderate rain showers, but looking back to the west, yeah, absolutely nothing happening up there. Wouldn't it all be surprised to see a little sun up there in Carroll County before the day's over with? We may see some sun across all of East Alabama and West Georgia later on this afternoon. But yeah, severe threat has ended up there in Carroll County. Cleburne County, you're looking good. Anniston, Oxford up there in Calhoun County, you're good. Talladega, Childersburg, Sylacauga, Ashland, Lineville, all of Randolph County, you're in the clear now. Coosa County, Tallapoosa, with the exception of that little bitty area there in the southeastern corner of the county, right there along between Waverly and Camp Hill on 280. You still got a little bit of a threat there, but the heaviest part of the weather is now well over into Chambers County, and it's stretching from up there at Rock Stand, or Standing Rock, all the way back down to Lafayette, and then down to around Waverly. Standing Rock down to around Fredonia. Heavy rainfall now at Stroud, though things are about to improve there. Same for 5 Points. You're about to get out of it. Amity Park, some pretty heavy rainfall. Holiday Park, Abbott's Ford. Then looking down Chambers County, maybe some hail between Buffalo and down into Lafayette and Chambers Academy there just south of Lafayette. Maybe some hailstones there. Lynette, the heavy rain is just now getting to you down there around Shawmut, Hughley Valley. Then Casita, you see that heavy rainfall, maybe even some hail just off to your west down to around Oak Bowery and back over towards Tiger Corner. And then just north of Waverly, back over toward Camp Hill along Highway 280 is where the heaviest part of all of this is taking place at this hour. So the National Weather Service is continuing the severe thunderstorm warning for Chambers County until 9:30. At 8:59, a severe thunderstorm was located near Lafayette, moving to the east at around 40 miles per hour. The greatest threat from this thunderstorm is 60 mile per hour wind gust. And let's just take a look and see what kind of winds we have going here. And you see that core right there, just south of Lafayette. We've got some 52, 58. There's some 60-mile-per-hour wind possibilities right there between Lafayette and Casita. Now, understand Doppler typically runs anywhere from 2 to 4 to 6 minutes behind, so this could actually be approaching Lynette as we speak right now. But that's where the heaviest wind issues would be if there are any this morning. And this certainly is telling us what's happening up in the upper levels of the atmosphere. And then when these thunderstorms bring the heavy rain, it can push this wind down to the surface. So that would be what we're seeing right now. Just south of Lafayette, back down to around Casita, is where the absolute heaviest wind would be taking place right now. All right, so the Weather Service, let's see what we have here. All right, so the Weather Service has now issued a special weather statement. I think they're going to allow the warning to expire. They're replacing it with a special weather statement. A strong thunderstorm will impact portions of northern Lee, east central Tallapoosa, and southern Chambers County through 9:45 a.m. At 9:13, Doppler radar was tracking a strong thunderstorm over Oak Bowery or near Opelika, moving to the east at 40 miles per hour. Wind gust of up to 50 miles per hour and pea-sized hail. So, no, I don't think that's what they're doing. I think they're issuing a secondary advisory here. Let's go back to the reflectivity. Well, they're issuing a special weather statement for the southern end of this line as it moves to the east and is bowing to the south. So you folks down here in Opelika, it is going to be a close call for you. I still think it may stay a little, just a shade bit north of Opelika. But if you're anywhere up here around Roanoke Junction or up Highway 431 north of Opelika, you certainly could get in on some of this. Pine Mountain, yeah, if it holds together eventually. Pine Mountain is sitting over here in Harris County, right there. So this line is moving to the east. If it does hold together, and all indications are it probably will, you'll get some of this in about 30 minutes or so. We put the radar in motion so you can kind of see the direction all of this is moving. Again, I can call it all clear for you folks up here in Randolph County. Heard County is in the clear, Carroll County, Cleburne, Calhoun, Talladega, Clay, Coosa, all but the east central section, southeast sections of Tallapoosa County. You're all in the clear. Right there around where 280 comes into Chambers County, still somewhat of a threat there. And then central and eastern and southern Chambers County, we still have a threat. All of Troup County and pretty much central and northern Harris County still under a threat of severe weather this morning, all associated with this relatively small complex of thunderstorms moving through Chambers County, about to move into west central Georgia. Nothing else is going severe this morning. We have some heavy thunderstorms down south of Montgomery from Greenville back over to Troy and back over to Eufaula, and that's where I would expect any significant severe weather would probably be limited to the southern one-third of Alabama and Georgia as we get into the afternoon. But notice this big blob of rain back over in West Alabama and East Mississippi. That is turning into a very large area of moderate and heavy rainfall. So, that starts to raise some question marks as far as some flooding issues that might be possible across central and east Alabama and maybe even West Georgia later on this afternoon. If we continue to get storms firing back off to the west, that could be an issue. But I think the good news here in what this is telling us at the moment is that once this area gets out of East Alabama and West Georgia and it's moving in that direction, this is where your severe weather threat is at the moment across all of Alabama and Georgia. No question there. That's the only area that's posing a threat at the moment. Once that gets out of our area, then you're no longer going to see a severe weather threat, at least not with what we've got going on currently. And the Storm Prediction Center doesn't think that we're going to see more severe weather today. They think because of all the rain that we've had and the cloud coverage we have in place, that we're going to see just scattered periods of rain throughout the remainder of the day, though we're watching that big area back off to our west become larger and larger. But the good news is that is not severe. That's just heavy rainfall back from Meridian, Mississippi, back over to Demopolis, maybe all the way up to the southern Birmingham suburbs. That's just heavy rain. But that'll be moving over the same areas it's been getting rain throughout most of the early morning hours and into mid-morning. So I'm saying that to say that we may have to deal with at least some localized street-level flooding as we get into the afternoon hours across the region. So we continue with a severe thunderstorm warning for a small area of Chambers County. Basically, I'll show you the areas of concern. And I got to tell you, this thing's not as strong as it was. But this area is the greatest concern. Now, it's certainly storming over here at Oak Bowery. 431 is just a nightmare between Lafayette and Oak Bowery. Still storming back over here at Waverly, no question. But those areas there where you see the pinks and the whites, and there's two areas there, just southeast of Casita and then just to the east of Lafayette. Those two areas, that's where the heaviest weather remains at this hour. And it just doesn't look as significant as it did. As a matter of fact, up here just west of LaGrange, we've got a sail that's popped up there. It's small, but it looks stronger than what we're seeing down here in Chambers County at the moment. And we'll go up there and take a look at this. Now, again, this is very small. It's out here just to the west of Lee's Crossing, coming down Highway 109, moving to the east. So that's pegged to come right across downtown LaGrange. And we could have some small hail right there. Let's take a look at the base velocity on it and get a reading on the wind. Yeah, I don't see anything alarming there with the wind. I mean, there's some 20, 25 mile per hour wind gust. See if I can pick out anything anymore than that. Well, there's some 35, maybe 40 mile per hour gust back off to the west up there around Abbott's Ford as well. But this area, just generally west of Lee's Crossing, There could be some hail taking place there, and you could have some gusty winds also, but nothing tornadic. I don't see anything of any great concern there. As far as Chambers County is concerned, the extreme eastern sections of Chambers County, basically from Holiday Park over on West Point Lake back to around Fredonia, and then down about halfway between Lafayette and Lynette on Highway 50 to the east is where the heaviest rain is, and then generally along and south of Highway 50 in the southern part of Chambers County. Valley, Lynette, West Point, Casita, Hughley, Shawmut, Langdale, you're all getting some heavy rainfall now. But again, you are under a severe thunderstorm warning. But at the moment, we're really not seeing anything of any great concern. If you live in Lafayette, Buffalo, 5 Points, Pennon, Marcoot, Points, to where if I just called out the name of your community, you're in the clear. Standing Rock, Doublehead, Milltown, back over in Tallapoosa County, Daviston, Budston, Dadeville, Camp Hill, Alexander City, you're all in the clear. Up here in Randolph County, wow. We don't know what happened there. But up here in Randolph County, Roanoke, Wadley, Wedowee, Woodland, you're all in the clear. Franklin's good. Delta, Ashland, let's see, Lineville, Mellow Valley, Talladega, Sylacauga, all you folks are good at this hour. That severe threat is moving off to the east with the line of thunderstorms, and I will circle that for you on the map. And it's moving this way. So if you are anywhere back here, or back here, you are in the clear. I know that there's some red on the radar back toward Demopolis, but that's just heavy rain. We don't anticipate that being anything severe as we head into the afternoon hours. I would anticipate the National Weather Service Peachtree City issuing a special weather statement for Troop, and maybe not even that, but if they issue anything for Troop and Harris, I don't anticipate a severe thunderstorm warning because this storm looks like it's losing its intensity as it continues to move off to the east. And again, they're noting broad rotation in Chambers County, just east of Lafayette, and that's this area right here. But again, it's very broad. You got to have a tight couplet to have any concern. This entire area is rotating, which is typical. That's very normal. That's nothing to be alarmed about. Thunderstorms rotate. That's what they do. But that's where that rotation would be. And that is going to probably move just a shade bit north of Lynette and likely end up out there around the Kia Motors plant. But again, that's very, very broad. It's something to keep an eye on, but it's nothing to be alarmed about at the moment. And like I predicted, it looks like this storm to the north of Opelika will stay north of Opelika. Basically from Waverly to Oak Bowery to Blanton, and then eventually over here to Hamilton and Pine Mountain. This will move through. A note of interest here, the storms have slowed down significantly because they've run into a warm front that's draped across West Georgia. So we may see some rain totals really rack up here across West Georgia and maybe even right there along the easternmost stretches of East Alabama. We could see rain hang around for a little bit. At that rate, it wouldn't take long to really get some incredible rainfall rates to pile up there. But again, overall, this area, this complex does not look as significant as it has over the course of the last couple of hours or so. So we are going to stay with you another couple of 2 or 3 minutes and make sure they do allow this warning to expire at 9:30, and then we're going to go back to monitoring, and of course we'll come back if anything changes. Just looking at the new mesoscale discussion, this is a fancy term for where the thunderstorms should be the remainder of the day. And I don't have that graphic where I can show it to you, but I'm looking at it. And yeah, south of the I 85 corridor, probably well south. We're talking places like Eufaula, Dothan, back over toward Enterprise, Elba, Andalusia, Monroeville, Mobile, Pensacola, Gulf Shores, and then back to the east. Maybe Mariana, Florida, Albany, Georgia, Macon, Georgia. Those would be the areas that one would expect to see severe weather possibilities this afternoon, if there's going to be any at all. That'll be the area that has the best chance of seeing severe weather this afternoon. So the National Weather Service in Peachtree City says that they are watching that activity in Chambers County as it moves into portions of Troup and Harris County. They're going to treat that with a special weather statement. They're also concurring with Birmingham that there is broad rotation in that storm. But for the moment, they're going to treat it with a special weather statement instead of a severe thunderstorm warning, which is just exactly what I expected they would do. And that rotation would be pretty much right over Lynette now. Let me go back to the velocity. And it's not nearly as prominent as it was. Matter of fact, I can't really pick it out now. What's left of it would be right over Lynette, but it doesn't. It's not as prominent on radar as it was just a few moments ago. No questions there. So I would say that the broad rotation would stretch anywhere from Lynette down to Valley, and it's very, very broad, and not of any great concern, even though, you got to keep an eye on it. But, yeah, that doesn't. It just looks like a strong thunderstorm, and it's continuing to move on off to the east. The Weather Service out of Peachtree City has issued a special weather statement for Troup County, a special weather statement for Harris County. And the severe thunderstorm warning has now expired for Chambers County. So with that, we have no warnings in effect for East Alabama or West Georgia. And I'm let me take next rad, let me go back over to composite, and let's look at the overall southeastern United States. And you can kind of see what's going on here. We have that area moving out of Alabama into Georgia. We have that heavier rain back over around Meridian, Mississippi. Look at these storms down here in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, though. That's the severe threat, the real severe threat. That's going to continue across South Alabama. That's why we think the best chance of severe weather will be well south of Montgomery. Places like Dothan, Albany, Macon, you need to really pay attention to the weather late this afternoon into the early part of the evening. It could get pretty rough down there. But I think it's just going to be a rain event across East Alabama and West Georgia now that we've got this severe threat moving on into Georgia. It appears to be weakening. Could it ramp back up? Well, absolutely it could. But I don't think that the odds of that happening are very strong. I think that particular thunderstorm cell will continue to weaken as it moves on off to the east this afternoon. So we are going to go back to a monitoring mode. If things were to change with this line of thunderstorms now moving through LaGrange, Gabbettville, Lynette, West Point, Lynette and West Point, you're almost in the clear. Still storming pretty good up here in LaGrange. And then we have some heavier storms to the south of Lynette and back across northern Harris County. Hamilton, you're going to get a pretty good thunderstorm here in just a few moments. Casita, it's storming pretty good there. Back over here in Tallapoosa County, yeah, the storms are pretty much out of Tallapoosa now. Still storming or raining pretty heavily right there at Waverly. But since we have no severe weather watches or warnings in effect for any of our coverage counties across East Alabama or West Georgia, or anywhere in Alabama or Georgia at this hour, we're going to go back to a monitoring mode. If we see severe weather breaking out, we'll certainly jump in here and give you the weather information. Thank you for joining us with our live severe weather coverage for East Alabama and West Georgia from Dr. Don's Weather.